it first came out?
Call of Duty for me is everything that Crysis wasn't really.
So you're definitely in the COD 4 camp.
I'm very much in the COD 4 camp, and I fly the flag proudly. I find that the graphics in Call of Duty are pretty much up there with Crysis, but it actually runs on modern systems that exist. The multiplayer aspect of it is brilliant.
That's good. We can get you on the Readers' Night server, which has been underpopulated by the staff of late.
Oh right, okay. Well, I will. You
get to walk around, and the readers go, "Are you really on the staff? You're really on the staff?" And if you say yes, they just kill you.
Oh right. Well, I'll probably get killed quite a lot then, because I'm not that good at it. But I think it's a brilliant game. I think it's a great team game. I think it's a great single player game, and I can see why it's on the chart. And Crysis isn't.
It's yeah.
You see, I'm.
You're the other way around.
Yeah, I think Crysis kicks it into a cocked hat and then burns the hat. I just thought, when I played Call of Duty 4 all the way through, I thought, this was great fun, and then I never ever played the single player again, barring the fact we use it for benchmarks, because it's all so heavily scripted to the tiniest detail that absolutely nothing goes too well. Obviously, a couple of things go differently when you play it next time through, but it's basically the same game all the way through every time you play it, because of the very linear nature of the scripting in it. Because it's I think it's a variation on the Quake 3 engine or something.
It is still built on that, yeah. It's built on the Call of Duty engine, which was originally derived from Quake 3.
So they've made a good fist of scrubbing up the graphics, but it's basically it's an old school scripted single player shooter until you get to the multiplayer element, which is pretty good.
Those accusations are all true. I will say that of the game, but I mean, it is scripted. Is that such a bad thing? I mean, it's scripted, but it's delivered in such a beautiful way, you know, that you play it through and you think, that was a landmark moment in graphics and gameplay. Well, maybe not such a landmark moment, but I really enjoyed playing through the whole single.
It just works, doesn't it?
It works very well, and you feel that you've got your money's worth, I think, after playing through it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing with money's worth in a game, it's kind of a tricky thing, because, I mean, personally, I don't object at all to the idea of paying 30 quid for a game that I complete 8 hours later and never touch again. I think, you know, it's not like a cheap thing, but, you know, that's all right. But for Crysis, I found that had better replay value, not so much in the going through the game and replaying the whole thing again, because basically the latter third of Crysis is complete twaddle. But the first two
it is. The swimming around the alien spaceship goes on for far too long.
The swimming around the alien spaceship thing was fun once, yeah. The first time I accidentally grabbed an alien and punched him in the chops. That's genius. But,
just like Will Smith.
Yeah, it was. I was even tempted to do the line, but no. But yeah, so there were bits of Crysis that are awesome once and would never want to ever touch them again. But the basic parts of the game when you're romping around the countryside fighting the North Korean army, practically single-handed as like an invisible predator dude. I mean, that's great, and you can do it in so many different ways. Like maybe one time I'll attack a base with rocket launchers and grenades and just level the thing, or another time you might drive a truck off a cliff into the middle of the base, or another time you might sneak up invisibly and just round up all the bad guys and throw them off a cliff. It's great.
Yeah.
The problem for me with Crysis was that my machine was struggling as soon as I'd loaded it.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, they've sold 1 million copies. It's gone, whatever, is it platinum or do they get a platinum disc?
I don't know. I think they just get a paycheck.
Well, they've sold 1 million copies, but they're still kind of moaning because they're saying piracy is the reason Crysis didn't sell.
Yeah, piracy, and you do need a computer. You have to basically order your computer from the year 2010, and it's just...
It has to have been clever enough to work out that you're in the past to get to you.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I can understand why they made the game as they did, and it kind of made me chuckle a bit, because when it came out at the same time as Halo 3, and the two comparisons were just like, ha ha ha, console fail. But yeah, you need to have a monstrous computer to run it, and I mean, even if you compromise on the graphic settings too much, and you kind of miss the point of it.
You do, definitely. I mean, I would say until you've got a system that can run it, don't play Call of Duty 4, because if Crysis without its graphics is, you know, the point of it, it's like a big Hollywood special effects movie. The point of it is that it's the whizziest, bangiest, whiz-bang thing going.
It does have certain elements to it which are really cool. But I mean, like the way you can, there is like great physics, destructible terrain, shooting down all the trees and things. But yeah, I think all those extra touches. If the world does look like cack, it's just no fun. And unlike, I mean, like Orestis said, with Call of Duty 4, that'll run on a toaster. So I mean, that's
be good in the morning, wouldn't it? Where you're waiting for your toaster to play, you can just quickly log in and have a
have a
multiplayer
touch
game
screen on the side of your toaster.
run by Windows 7.
That might be a bit
That's
hot.
the future, folks. We're waiting for the call, Bill. Right, number 3, Sims 2 free time.
Yay for Sims.
Hey,
It's the Sims.
number 2, Football Manager 2008, quote unquote.
It's still there.
It's still there. It's still the good one.
And it's like, but the football season's over
Yeah. Now we all get to enjoy Euro 2008.
without us in it.
I'll be supporting
It's ridiculous.
Luxembourg. Did they qualify?
Of course not. No one qualified.
No one of any note.
There's no football championship this summer. What's on about?
Right. Moving on to number 1. It's a brand new one, and it's a big one. It's Age of Conan Hyborian Adventures. So to quote Clive, is it all kinds of good, or is it all kinds of not?
It's
You've both played it, so
I'm in the.
and a minus 10 points to the first one to do the obvious Conan quote as well.
I'm not doing any obvious Conan quotes. It's just rude.
Let me hear your lamentations then.
No, don't do it. It's too late. Right. Well, I was kind of.
Should we set the scene first? So Age of Conan is a massively multiplayer online RPG.
A Memorpaga.
That's well pronounced. A true rival to World of Warcraft, but with good graphics, and but it does still have the kind of sword. It's not really swords and sorcery, is it?
No, it's sword and sorcery.
It's not as far removed from World of Warcraft as you might think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
well, it's kind of based around the Conan movies, the Conan books.
Well, it's the Conan books. I mean,
Is it really?
granted, everyone is called like Arnie or something like that, but everyone wants to look like Arnie. But yeah, they've drawn mostly from the books.
Okay.
But the key difference between the books and the game is that in the books there's like Conan with his big sword and millions of goons with other goons with swords and about 4 wizards, whereas in Age of Conan everyone's a wizard except me.
Well, to be fair, this is the problem with MMORPGs like Star Wars Galaxies, for example.
Everyone wants to be a Jedi.
Everybody wants to be a Jedi, and they gave in, and everybody became a Jedi. So it completely lost any kind of connection with the films because they started off saying it was set between episode 4 and 5, or I think somewhere around those times. I can't remember.
And then suddenly,
and obviously at that time, Darth Vader was supposed to have killed all the Jedi, but then suddenly there's this game set in the Star Wars world loosely, and there's all these Jedi running around.
We need to be careful because we're going to end up all sounding like comic book guy. Just going, but that couldn't happen.
No.
It's true, but they have to kind of. I mean, you can't stick to the books entirely, otherwise it wouldn't make a good game. And the fact that there's loads of barbarians, all with slightly different variations on the name Conan, yes, or Arnold, like a character I quite know is. It doesn't matter. I think it's a really good game, and it doesn't matter that they've broken the storyline of the books at all, or they're moving away from what the purists think it might be. It's a good game. You should just enjoy it, and that's what matters.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you can't with any MMO where. I mean, they kind of have to make a choice when anyone makes an MMO. They've got to say, is the character going to be a superhero or is he going to be an ordinary pleb? And there's only about a handful of games I can think of where your character is effectively an ordinary pleb, and that would be sort of Ultima Online, EVE Online, and arguably Pirates of the Burning Sea, where you're kind of a pleb, but you're still a captain of a ship. But I mean, as a general rule, most MMOs these days, the mission-driven ones, you are kind of like hero, saviour of the world, and everyone is the saviour of the world, all running around together at level 80. So I mean, once you've kind of acknowledged that everyone's going to be a superhero who's saved the world at least 6 times over the course of their level progression, you basically have to put any kind of source material away. Actually, everyone's God. Well, not quite, but still.
Is it because it's I mean, the thing that you see from a lot of MMOs is that they struggle to attract the kind of numbers they need because everyone's playing WoW, and obviously it's such a social thing. If your mates are playing WoW, you're not gonna. It's not like a normal computer game where you can all play different things. So it's obviously done fairly well. I think it sold 1 million pre-orders or something. Is it gonna, early signs? Does it have the sticking power? Is it gonna go somewhere?
Well, the test is obviously it's got to be better than WoW. Is the big test, and it's going to be hard. for a lot of it. I mean, because the thing with World of Warcraft is all MMOs improve the longer they've been out.
Mm.
It's just